Corporal Harold W. Dawson have been informed by Special Agent R.C. McGuire of the Naval Investigative Service. I am suspected of murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and conduct unbecoming a United States Marine in the matter of Private First Class William T. Santiago. I have also been advised that I have the right to remain silent and make no statement at all.
Any statement I do can and will be used against me in a trial by court-martial or other judicial or administrative proceedings. I have the right to consult with a lawyer prior to further questioning.
I am presently assigned to Rifle Security Company Windward, 2nd Platoon Delta, now based Guantanamo Bay, Cuba.
I am a PFC in the United States Marine Corps, assigned to Marine Rifle Security Company Windward, 2nd Platoon Delta. I will have been in the Corps 10 months as of August.
I am in Private Santiago's barracks room on the evening of 6th July at or about 2350. I was accompanied by PFC Louden Downey.
I was accompanied by my squad leader, Lance Corporal Harold W. Dawson.
We tied his hands and feet with rope.
We tied Private Santiago's hands and feet with rope and forced a cloth into his mouth.
We placed duct tape over his eyes and mouth.
I have read this 2-page statement that Special Agent McGuire has prepared for me at my request. As we discuss its content, I have been allowed to make all changes and corrections, initializing those statements and corrections.
These statements are true and factual to the best of my knowledge.
Danny, I'm late. You know what I just saw?
No, but I'm genuinely late.
There's a lawyer from Internal Affairs wandering around the hallway.
Well, what's he doing?
I don't know.
Is he stealing things?
No.
Then tell me why I care.
Ordinarily, when Internal Affairs has a lawyer around to talk to other lawyers, it means something screwed up.
Do you think it's you?
No.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure. I think so. I don't know. I've been very tired lately. Look, do me a favor, would you?
Sure.
If they talk to you, if they mention anything about DeMattis.
Who?
DeMattis, the engineer. Remember my guy who was littering in the Admiral's tulip garden? I may have cut a few corners. Would you cover me?
Sure.
Yeah?
I have no idea what you're talking about, but sure. No problem.
DeMattis. He's an engineer.
Littering in the Admiral's turnip garden.
Tulips.
Okay.
Where are you going?
I'm representing an ensign who bought and smoked $10 worth of oregano.
He thought it was weed?
I can only hope.
You're not concerned?
What's he going to be charged with? Possession of a condiment? He'll get a Class C misdemeanor. 15 days restricted duty.
I'm talking about the lawyer from Internal Affairs. You're not concerned?
My softball team's playing Bethesda Medical tomorrow. I don't have any time to be concerned. See you tomorrow.
I'm Lieutenant Commander Joseph Galloway, ma'am.
Captain Whitaker?
I appreciate your seeing me on such short notice.
Vronsky said you were reopening a case.
Yes, ma'am.
Vronsky and I go way back.
He speaks very highly of you, ma'am.
Yeah, that's bullshit, right?
Yes, ma'am.
I know you, don't I?
I don't believe we formally...
You work in Internal Affairs.
Yes, ma'am.
I hate Internal Affairs.
Yes, ma'am.
You were the one who recycled those 14B misdemeanors last winter.
That may have been me.
14B misdemeanors, drunk and disorderlies. We had them closed.
No, ma'am, you didn't. The blue copies of the charge sheets weren't filed through division with the IC-1.
Who cares?
My boss, the Judge Advocate General.
He doesn't care any more than I do. It was you.
There are rules, ma'am. I'm sure you understand.
You had my guys working Christmas Day, filling out charge sheets and longhand. Christmas Day, Commander.
It was in the interest of justice, ma'am.
Okay. Are you here to bother anybody?
Absolutely not. No, ma'am. Not at all. Only if necessary.
What can I do for you?
2 prisoners are being held in Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. They pleaded guilty to murder 2, conspiracy to commit, and conduct unbecoming. Over the weekend, I petitioned Captain Bronsky to deny the guilty pleas and to order the prisoners moved here to Washington to be assigned counsel.
What was wrong with the guilty pleas? Somebody misspelled conspiracy?
No, ma'am. But the prisoners confessed to murder at 3 o'clock in the morning during a 20-minute interview at which neither had an attorney.
So Bronsky's bringing them up to Washington.
You'll be receiving a memo from Division instructing you to assign a lawyer from your department, which brings me to why I'm here.
Yes.
I'd like a favor.
Good luck to you.
Thank you.
What's the favor?
Tell Division you want to assign a lawyer outside your department.
Why?
Because I'm a lawyer outside your department.
And don't think I'm not grateful.
I brought a letter of recommendation from Captain Bronsky.
You're an investigator. Why do you want to get mixed up in grunt work?
I don't consider it grunt work, ma'am.
It's a 5-minute plea bargain and a week of paperwork.
I look forward to it with relish, ma'am.
And can I ask, do you always talk as if your dialogue is written by someone who's not very good at it?
I'm sorry if my overeagerness is grating.
It's not. It's endearing. You could have a career as a cartoon squirrel.
I want to make sure this is handled properly.
Have you done litigation before?
My first year with the JAG Corps.
How many cases did you handle?
Altogether,
Yes.
6.
How'd you do?
From what perspective?
Your clients?
Not well.
Okay.
Excuse me, Irene. This just came for you. It's from Division.
Those cases were lost on their merits, ma'am.
This is Lieutenant Commander Joseph Galloway.
Really?
How did you do?
Really enjoyed last Christmas.
That would be all.
So what do you say?
Commander, may I call you Joe?
Yes, please.
Joe, you seem like a fairly harmless, neurotic person.
I appreciate that.
And I'd like to help you out, but there are 2 things preventing me. The first is, while I sincerely do believe in your present assignment with Internal Affairs, you did an exceptionally thorough job. I have a hunch, as a litigator, you know not so much.
Yes,
The
but...
second is that Division already chose an attorney.
What?
They already chose someone. I'm not sure why they care, but it's out of my hands now. They want you to brief the woman. Apparently you've got some letters and documents.
Yes.
We'll be having a staff meeting at 3. Come by, do your thing, try not to make anyone cry.
Yes, ma'am.
Tough break.
Thank you, Captain.
You can call me Irene.
And what's the name of the attorney?
Tin Hut, officer on deck.
Danielle Kaffee.
They're giving you a lawyer. They're going to move you up to Washington, D.C. and give you a lawyer who's going to ask you some questions. I want you to remember something about these lawyers. They don't care about anything. They don't care about honor or loyalty. They don't care about Colonel Jessep or Lieutenant Kendrick. They don't care about me. They don't care about you. They're clowns. That is why, so help me God, they're the only ones who can save you right now. I want you boys to be smart. Talk to your lawyer.
I just settled for the OTH. It's his 4th UA. You're not going to do any better than that.
I don't think I need to settle for the OTH. If I file a motion to suppress...
A motion to suppress?
Absolutely.
On what grounds?
Grounds?
See, this is where your strategy begins to fall apart.
Take the OTH.
Oh, excuse me, sorry I'm late.
I'm sure you have a good excuse.
No, I just didn't really care enough about this meeting to be on time.
She's kidding. Lieutenant Commander Galloway, this is Lieutenant Capt.
Pleasure to meet you.
You're a JG.
I beg your pardon?
This is the attorney division assigned.
Yes?
I wrote a 17-page memo to Captain Bronsky outlining the situation. I pleaded my case for a half hour in his living room on a Sunday afternoon, and division assigned a Lieutenant Junior grade.
Have I come at a bad time?
Commander Galloway is from Internal Affairs.
Oh, whatever Sam did with the guy in the Admiral's turnip garden, it wasn't her fault. She was tired. How's that? Thanks very much. Sam's got a new baby at home, and she's sure she's about to say her first word any day now.
How do you know?
She just looks like she has something to say.
She's 14 months old. What does she have to say?
We have a poll going if you want to get in on it. $10. Pick a word off the grid.
What's left?
Pacifier.
Captain, with all due respect...
Let's get started. Commander Galloway's here because you've been detailed by division.
Detailed to do what?
Detailed to handle this. Everybody listen up. Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, a Marine PFC named William Santiago writes letter claiming he knows the name of the Marine on the base who illegally fired a round from his weapon over the fence line. Santiago ends the letter by saying he wants to transfer off of the base in exchange for the identity of the Marine.
What's the fence line?
Sam?
A big wall separating the good guys from the bad guys.
Okay.
The man shooting over the fence line was Santiago's squad leader, Lance Corporal Harold Dawson. The fence line shooting, however, is completely besides the point.
Then what's the point?
Santiago's dead.
What happened?
Dawson and another member of the squad, PFC Louden Downey, went into Santiago's room, tied his hands and feet, and stuck a rag in his mouth. The doctor said the rag must have been treated with some kind of toxin.
They poisoned the rag?
Not according to them.
What do they say?
Not much. They're being brought up here tomorrow morning. Thursday at 0600, you'll catch a transport down to Cuba for the day to find out what you can. Commander Galloway's going to fill you in on the rest. Any questions so far?
Was that 0600 in the morning, ma'am?
Division wants me to assign backup. Any volunteers?
No.
Sam?
Ma'am, I have a pile of work on my
Work
desk.
with Kaffee on this.
Doing what?
Various administrative, things, backup, whatever.
In other words, I have no responsibilities whatsoever.
Right.
My kind of case.
Lieutenant Kaffee, how long have you been in the Navy?
I beg your pardon?
How long have you been in the Navy?
Going on 9 months now.
Have you ever been in a courtroom?
Well, I once had my driver's license suspended.
All right, Captain, this is absurd.
Commander, if this thing ever went to court, those Marines wouldn't need a lawyer, they'd need a priest.
No, they'd need a lawyer.
Irene, I'd like to say that for the record, this is the least fun I've ever had at one of your staff meetings.
Lieutenant Kaffee is generally considered one of the best litigators in our office. She successfully plea bargained more than 44 cases in a year.
One more and I get a set of steak knives.
One of the people you'll be talking to down there is the barracks CO, Colonel Nancy Jessep. I assume you've heard of her.
Sam, she's been in the papers lately. She's expected to be appointed Director of Operations for the NSC. Poster child of the Corps. Very big inside the DOD.
How does someone get big inside the DOD? Is she touring? Did she cut an album?
On top is an inventory of Santiago's footlocker on the night he died. 4 pairs of camouflage pants, 3 long-sleeve khaki shirts, 3 short-sleeve khaki shirts, 3 pairs of boots, 4 pairs of green socks, 4 pairs of black
Commander.
socks. Yes,
I don't think socks and underwear are going to figure too heavily into this defense.
I'm saying that we need to get his personal belongings to his family after they've cleared evidence.
Sam, you're in charge of socks and underwear.
So it's a good thing I went to school for 21 years.
These are letters that Santiago wrote during his 8 months at Gitmo.
Guantanamo Bay.
I knew that one.
He wrote to his recruiter, HQ Atlantic, the Commandant of the Marine Corps, even his senator. He wanted to be transferred off base. Nobody was listening. Are you with me?
Yeah.
Finally, he wrote this letter, where he offered information about Corporal Dawson's fence line shooting in exchange for a transfer. This letter is the only physical evidence establishing a motive for Dawson to kill Santiago.
I gotcha. And Santiago is who?
The victim!
Write that down. Am I right in assuming that these letters don't paint a very flattering picture of Santiago's treatment by the Marine Corps?
Yes, among
Am I
others.
also right in assuming that a protracted investigation of the incident would be cause for some embarrassment for Hepburn?
Who?
The base commander, the one who's big at the Pentagon?
Colonel Jessep, yes. But the point...
12 years.
I'm sorry?
I'll get it knocked down to involuntary manslaughter. 12 years. They'll probably be home in 7.
You haven't talked to a witness or looked at a piece of paper.
Pretty impressive.
Either that or criminally stupid. Guess which one I'm thinking it is right now.
Kids?
Excuse me, ma'am. Sir, do you have some sort of jurisdiction here that I should know about?
I'm Special Counsel for Internal Affairs, Lieutenant. My jurisdiction's pretty much in your face. Read the letters. Thank you for the time, Captain.
You're not leaving already, are you?
Yes, ma'am. I need to audit the paperwork on an engineer who was found littering in the Admiral's tulip garden. Someone may have forgotten to dot a few I's.
Sam, I think he was talking about you.
You think?
The two of you don't get cute down there. The Marines in Guantanamo are fanatical
About what?
Dear sir,
about being Marines.
my name is PFC William T. Santiago. I am a Marine stationed at Marine Barracks, Windward, Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. I am writing to inform you of my problems and to ask for your help. I have been mistreated since the very first day I arrived. I have been punished for passing out of runs when the doctor says I have heat exhaustion. This is just one incident of mistreatment, and I could say many more, but I do not want to take more of your time than I am allowed to. I have written many letters and gotten no response back, so I must try something else. I know of an illegal fence line shooting that took place 4 nights ago. A member of my unit illegally discharged his weapon into Cuban territory. I will give his name in exchange for a transfer. I ask you to help me. Please, sir, I just need to be transferred out of RSC.
Excuse me, ma'am. Captain Markinson and Lieutenant Kendrick to see you.
Thank you, Tom.
Good morning, Colonel.
1,000 hours, already hot enough to melt the brass off your collar. I just had a Navy guy in here telling me we're lucky. After all, it's dry heat. Dry heat. It's 107 degrees outside. How am I supposed to feel about that? Mary, you've been here the longest. Is this about as hot as it gets, or am I actually trapped in hell?
This is as hot as it's been since maybe 84, Colonel.
84 was pretty bad.
Got up to 119 degrees.
Capering half in smoke and half in fire. Moby Dick. John, when I quote Melville, you don't have to nod your head up and down like you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm not going to regard you as less of a man because you're not well read.
Thank you, ma'am.
I mean that, John.
I appreciate that, ma'am.
119 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yes, ma'am.
You must have had Marines passing out right and left.
No, the men were all right.
Nobody passed out.
Not that I recall.
Nobody got dizzy or hyperventilated. No heat exhaustion.
No.
Impressive.
Yes, ma'am.
You know why those Marines didn't pass out back in 84, Jonathan? Even though it was 119 degrees by Captain Markinson's reckoning. You know why they stayed on the job?
Why, ma'am?
Because that's what they're trained to do.
Yes, ma'am.
Who the hell is PFC William T. Santiago?
Officer on deck, 10 put!
Good morning. I'm Lieutenant Commander Galloway.
Sir, Lance Corporal Harold W. Dawson, sir. Marine Barracks, Rifle Security Company, Windward.
Sir, Private First Class Downey, sir.
Stand easy. I work for the Navy JAG Corps. I'm the one that had you guys brought up here. I wanted to stop in and see if there was anything you needed, or any questions you might have to ask. It's perfectly natural for you to be a little confused or frightened, and so anything you might need, any questions you might have...
Sir, permission to speak.
Go ahead.
I got some Spider-Mans and some Batman sitting in my foot locker. Someone will dog them if they're not secure, sir.
Do you think this is a joke?
Sir, no, sir.
What about you? Is this a joke?
No, sir, it's not a joke, sir.
I apologize to Commander, sir. I didn't mean none. About the book, sir. I didn't mean none.
You were read your Article 31 rights. Did you understand them?
Yes, sir.
Did you understand them?
Yes, sir.
Say you understand them.
I understand them, sir.
Can I get an MP? I'm going to talk to Private Downey alone for a moment. Would you please take Corporal Dawson into a holding room?
Aye, aye, Commander. All right, let's move. Hey, asshole! I said move it!
Sir, permission to be dismissed?
You're dismissed. Hi. Your only living relative is Jenny Miller, your aunt on your mother's side. Is that right? Jenny Miller?
Yes, sir.
She hasn't been contacted yet. Would you like me to take care of that for you? I'll take care of that for you. Private, do you know why you're here?
Sir, this is where the guard told me to stand.
Louden, may I call you Louden?
Yes, sir.
Do you know where you are? Do you know why you've been arrested?
Willie Dodd, sir.
Why? Was it an accident, or did you mean to do it? Louden, I know about Code Reds.
Sir?
I can help you. Was it a Code Red?
I don't need those comic books anymore, sir. You can have them if you like.
You've got to talk to someone, Louden. They're going to try and pin you with intent. They're going to try and say this was retaliation for Santiago snitching on Dawson with regard to the fence line shooting, which it wasn't, was it?
Sir, permission to speak.
Sure.
Are you a lawyer?
No, I'm a lawyer, but I'm not the one representing you.
Captain Markinson told us to talk to our lawyer, sir. That's what she told us to do.
All right. Man on first, let's go. Hit a few extra, Sherby. Get your glove down, Sherby. You gotta get your glove down. Pick up some dirt with that ball. All right, let's go again. Man on first, one down.
Excuse me.
1 second. You gotta trust me, Sherby. If you keep your eyes open while the ball's coming towards you, your chances of catching it will increase by a factor of 10. You wanna suit up? We could use all the help we can get.
No thanks. I can't throw and catch things.
That's all right. She's an Kennedie.
I wanted to speak to you about Dawson and Downey.
Done something wrong, haven't I?
I'm wondering why 2 guys have been in a cell since this morning while their lawyer is outside hitting a ball.
We need the practice.
That wasn't funny.
Well, it was a little funny.
Lieutenant, would you feel very insulted if I were to ask your supervisor to recommend that different counsel be assigned?
Why?
I don't know how to say this without possibly hurting your feelings, but I don't think you're fit to handle this defense.
You don't even know me. Ordinarily, it takes someone hours to discover I'm not fit to handle any defense. I think there's some people that have thought that funny.
I do know you, and I know who your father was. And I know that you went to Harvard Law on a Navy scholarship, and that you're probably treading water for the 3 years you've got to serve, just kind of laying low so you can get out and get a real job. And if that's the case, that's fine. I won't tell anyone. But my feeling is that if this case is handled in that fast food, slick-ass Persian bazaar manner with which you seem to handle everything else, something's going to get missed. And I wouldn't be doing my job if I were to allow Dawson and Downey to spend more time in jail than absolutely necessary, because their lawyer has predetermined the path of least resistance.
I may be picking the wrong time to ask you this, but are you seeing anyone? Because it's clear that you respect me, and that is the foundation for...
Shut up!
Yes, sir.
I don't think your clients murdered anyone.
We'll just have to take their word for it, won't we?
I mean, I don't think there was any intent.
The doctor's report says that Santiago died of asphyxiation brought on by acute lactic acidosis, and that the nature of the acidosis strongly suggests poisoning. Now, I don't know what most of that means, but it sounds pretty bad.
The doctor's wrong.
That's a relief. I didn't think I'd get to use the liar, pants on fire defense.
Kaffee.
Look, rest assured, I'm completely on top of the situation with Dawson and Downey.
Downey. I'll speak to your supervisor.
You do that. You go right on up to Pennsylvania Avenue, and it's the big White House with the pillars in front.
Thank you.
But I don't think you'll have much luck, though. I was detailed by division, remember? Someone up there is under the impression that I'm a good lawyer. So while I appreciate your interest and admire your enthusiasm, I think I can handle things myself at this point.
Do you know what a code red is?
I'm appalled.
No, I don't.
Find out.
You're appalled?
Yes, ma'am.
That's pretty strong language, Mary. I mean, maybe you better cool off before you work yourself into a lather. You're appalled. Santiago's written letters to everyone but Santa Claus complaining about his treatment. He's broken the chain of command. He's threatened to rat out a member of his unit, a member of his squad, for Christ's sake. To say nothing of the fact that he's a U.S. Marine, and it would appear that he can't run from here to there without collapsing from heat exhaustion. What the hell's going on over at Windward, Mary?
Colonel, I think it might be more appropriate if this discussion were held in private.
That won't be necessary, Colonel. I can handle the problem.
The way you handled Curtis Barnes? You're doing something wrong.
My methods of leadership are what brought me to this base.
Don't interrupt me. I'm still your superior officer.
And I'm yours, Mary. Now what are we going to do about this?
I think we've got to transfer Santiago. Right away. Now.
Transfer Santiago.
Yes, ma'am.
I suppose you're right. I suppose that's the thing to do. Wait, I've got a better idea. Let's transfer the whole squad off the base. We better do that. Let's, on second thought, Windward. The whole Windward division, let's transfer them off the base. John, go on out there and get those boys down off the fence. They're packing their bags. Tom!
Ma'am?
Get me the president. We're surrendering our position in Cuba.
Yes, ma'am.
Wait a minute, Tom. Don't get me the president. Maybe that's the wrong thing to do. Maybe you should let us consider this for a moment. You're dismissed. Maybe instead of giving up because a Marine made a mistake, Maybe we should train Santiago. What do you think? I'm just spitballing, but maybe we as officers have a responsibility to this country to see that the men and women charged with its security are properly trained professionals. And maybe we have that responsibility to the other members of the Corps. Yes, I'm certain I once read something like that. See, and now I'm trying to think of how I might feel if a Marine got hurt or killed because a PFC in my command didn't know what the hell he was doing. And this brief mediation has brought me around to the thinking that your suggestion of transferring Private Santiago, while expeditious and certainly painless, might not be, in a manner of speaking, the American way. Santiago stays where he is. We're going to train the lad. John, you're in charge. Santiago doesn't make a 4646 on his next ProCon report, I'm going to blame you. Then I'm going to kill you.
I think you're making a mistake, Colonel.
Mary, I believe I will have that word in private with you now. John, that's all. Why don't you and I have lunch at the O Club? We can talk about how to train the private.
I'd be delighted, ma'am.
You're dismissed. Mary, what do you think of Kendrick?
Nancy, this isn't personal. My opinion of John
I think he's kind of a weasel myself.
Yes, ma'am.
But he's an awfully good officer. And in the end, we see eye to eye on the best way to run a Marine Corps unit. We're in the business of saving lives, Mary. With every degree that we allow ourselves to fall off the mark of perfection, more people die. And I believe that taking a Marine who's a weak link and packing him off to another assignment without giving him the proper training is the same as sending a kid into the jungle with a weapon that backfires. Mary, I'm younger than you are, Mary. And if that's a source of tension or embarrassment for you, well, I don't give a damn. We're in the business of saving lives. Don't ever question my orders in front of another officer.
Officer on deck, Tin Hut.
Hi.
Ma'am, Lance Corporal Harold W. Dawson, ma'am.
Someone hasn't been working or playing well with others, Harold.
Ma'am, Private First Class Louden, Downey, ma'am.
I'm Danielle Kaffee. I'm your attorney. This is Sam Weinberg. She's from AC Nielsen Media Research, and she's here to talk to you about viewer preferences in the Caribbean Command. You can sit down now. Is this your signature?
Yes, ma'am.
You don't have to call me ma'am. Is this your signature?
Ma'am, yes, ma'am.
You certainly don't have to do it twice in one sentence. What's a code red?
Ma'am?
Really, you don't have to call me ma'am. What's a code red?
Ma'am, a code red is a disciplinary engagement.
Did you know about this?
It's like a hazing.
What's a garden variety code red?
Ma'am, a Marine falls out of line, it's the responsibility of the managed unit to get him back on track.
Nate, what's a garden variety code red?
Ma'am?
Harold, you say ma'am, and I turn around and I look for my mother. Garden variety, basic. What is a typical code red?
Ma'am, a Marine refuses to bathe on a regular basis. The men in the squad give him a GI shower.
What's that?
Scrub brushes, Brillo pads, steel wool.
Beautiful. Was the attack on Santiago a code red?
Yes, ma'am.
Does he ever talk?
Ma'am, Private Downey answer the direct questions you ask him, ma'am.
Swell. It says here in the report you guys deny putting poison on the rag. So what was it you were going to do?
Ma'am,
What was a code red supposed to be?
we were just going to shave his head, ma'am. We were just going to shave his head.
When all of a sudden,
Blood started coming out of his mouth. We pulled the tape out and the gag out, ma'am.
was there more blood?
All down his face, ma'am. And Corporal Dawson called the ambulance.
You called the ambulance?
Yes, ma'am.
That wasn't in the report.
We were never asked about it, ma'am.
Did anyone see you call the ambulance?
No, ma'am.
Were you there when the ambulance arrived?
Yes, ma'am. That's when we were taken under arrest.
I want to talk to you guys about something called attorney-client privilege. It means you can say whatever you want to us, and we're not allowed to repeat it. It's against the law. We took an oath. You took an oath, didn't you, Sam?
Sure.
See, Sam took the oath. Harold, did you attack Santiago with the intent of killing him?
No, ma'am.
What was your intent?
To train him, ma'am.
Train him to do what?
Train him to think of his unit before himself. Train him to respect the code, ma'am.
What's the code?
Who cares?
No. What's the code?
Unit, Corps, God, Country.
I beg your pardon.
Our code is Unit, Corps, God, Country, ma'am. That's our code, ma'am.
Seems to be working out well for you.
Is there anything we can get you guys? Books, paper, ham sandwich?
Ma'am, no thank you, ma'am.
Harold, there's a concept I think you'd better start warming up to.
Ma'am?
I'm the only friend you got.
Danielle Kaffee,
Smiling, Jackie Ross.
I hope for Dawson and Downey's sake you practice law better than you play softball.
Unfortunately for Dawson and Downey, I don't do anything better than I play softball. So what are we looking at?
The pleas of manslaughter, I'll drop the conspiracy and bad conduct. 20 years, don't even have that time.
I want 12.
Can't do it.
They called the ambulance, Jackie.
I don't care if they called the Avon lady. They killed a Marine.
The rag was tested for poison. So the autopsy, the doctor's report, even the initial ER and COD reports say the same thing. Maybe, maybe not.
The chief of internal medicine at the Guantanamo Bay Naval Hospital says he's sure.
What's code red?
Crap. Are we off the record?
No, we're not.
I'll give you the 12 years. But before you go getting yourself into trouble down there, you should know this. The platoon commander, Lieutenant Jonathan Kendrick, had a meeting with his men and specifically told them not to touch Santiago.
Talk to you when I get back.
Do we have a deal?
Talk to me when I get back. Come on in.
Thank you.
Any luck getting me replaced?
Is there anyone in this command you don't either drink or play softball with?
Say, Commander,
You can call me Joe.
Joe. I have no inbred hostility towards you. I really don't. But if you ever speak to one of my clients again without my permission, I'll have you disbarred.
I had authorization
You had authorization from where?
from Downey's closest living relative, Aunt Ginny, his aunt on his mother's side.
You had authorization from Aunt Ginny.
I gave her a call. I thought she might be concerned. Perfectly within my province.
You got authorization from Aunt Ginny?
Very nice woman. We talked for about an hour.
Well, does Aunt Ginny have a barn? Maybe we can hold the trial there. I can sew up the costumes, and maybe his Uncle Goober could be the judge.
More good news. My office has been encouraging me to get out of the district more often to observe how our lawyers are doing in the field. Guess where I'm going?
Target range?
I'm going down to Cuba with you tomorrow.
And the hits just keep on coming.
She's asleep now. When Lawrence gets back, you're my witness. The baby spoke. My daughter said a word.
She made a sound. I'm not sure it counts as a word.
Oh, come on. It was a word.
Okay.
You heard her. The girl sat here, pointed, and said, Mom. She said, Mom.
She was pointing at a doorknob.
That's right. Pointing as if to say, Mom, look, a doorknob.
Jackie Ross came to see me today. She offered me the 12 years.
That's what you wanted.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll take it.
So,
It took about 45 seconds. She barely even put up a fight.
Danny, take the 12 years. It's a gift.
You don't believe their story, do you? You think they should go to jail for the rest of their lives.
I believe every word they said, and I do believe that they should go to jail for the rest of their lives.
See you tomorrow.
Remember to wear your whites. It's hot down there.
I don't look good in whites.
Nobody looks good in whites, but we're going to Cuba in July. You got Dramamine?
Why? Does Dramamine keep you cool?
You get sick when you fly.
I get sick when I fly because I'm worried about crashing into a mountain. I'm not sure Dramamine will help.
I got some oregano. I hear that works pretty good.
Yeah. You know, Ross said the strangest thing to me right before she left. She said that the platoon commander, Lieutenant Jonathan Kendrick, had a meeting with his men and specifically told them not to touch Santiago.
So?
I don't know who Kendrick is. I never brought him up. What the hell? See you tomorrow. Ten hut.
Squad leaders, front and center, report.
Sir, Corporal Dunn, Alpha Squad present, sir.
Corporal Hammaker, Bravo's present.
Sir, Corporal Howard, Charlie's present.
Sir, Lance Corporal Dawson, Delta's present, less 2.
Private Santiago has been excused from the meeting. Where's Private Downey?
Downey ran into the switch, sir. His Jeep blew out. He didn't pick up making it back by foot.
Pass on my words to Private Downey. Anything I say to the squad leaders at this meeting is to be considered a direct order to the members of your squad members. Is that clear?
Sir, yes, sir.
Revelation 2. I know thy works and thy labor, and that thou canst not bear which are evil, and thou hast tried them which say they are apostles. If you have a problem in our PFC, who do you take that problem to?
Sir, your corporal, sir.
If you're a corporal and have a problem, who do you take that problem to?
Sir, your sergeant, sir.
Private Santiago, they waste our priorities and register our code. Priorities.
Unit, corps, God, country.
Code.
Unit, corps, God, country.
What are we here to fight for?
Unit, corps, God, country.
What are we here to fight for?
Unit, corps, God, country.
Do you need somebody from outside this unit to show you how to be good?
Sir, no, sir.
Do you need somebody from outside this unit to show you how to be good?
Sir, no, sir.
Corporal Bun,
Sir.
you think you and the boys of the Alpha Squad can show Santiago how to be right?
Sir, yes, sir.
Anybody in Alpha goes near him and you'll answer to me. Is that clear?
Sir.
Is that clear?
Sir, yes, sir.
Alpha is dismissed. Corporal Haymaker.
Sir.
How about my brave men of Bravo? I better turn this over to your boys and Santiago is a full Marine by sunrise, am I right?
Sir, yes, sir.
Bravo touches him and you'll be feeling sandbags until you beg for mercy. Dismissed. Corporal Howard.
Sir.
I have 2 things to say to you. The first is that I believe in my heart that you and the men of Charlie Squad are outstanding Marines, and your influence on the private would be invaluable. The second is that the government of the United States maintains a military installation in the Arctic Circle, and you and the men of Charlie will find yourself stripping icicles off the igloos if you so much look funny at the private. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
No code reds, is that clear?
Sir, yes, sir.
No code reds, is that clear?
Sir, yes,
No
sir.
code reds, is that clear?
Sir, yes, sir.
Dismissed. Lance Corporal Dawson.
Sir?
Up in the morning with the rising sun.
Up in the morning with the rising sun.
Gonna run all day till the day is done.
Gonna run all day till the day is done.
Left, right,
1, 2,
go right.
3, 4, left, right. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Lieutenants Kaffee and Weinberg?
Yeah.
I'm Commander Galloway.
Corporal Howard, sir. I'm to escort you to the windward side of the base.
Thank you.
I've got some camouflage jackets here. I'll have to ask you both to put them on.
Camouflage jackets?
Yes, ma'am. Regulations. We'll be riding pretty close to the fence. If you haven't seen an officer wearing white, they figure it's somebody they want to take a shot at.
Nice going, Sam.
The jeep's right over there, ma'am. We'll just hop on the ferry and be there in no time.
Whoa. We have to take a boat?
Yes, ma'am. It's in the other side of the bay.
Whitaker didn't say anything about a boat.
Is there a problem, ma'am?
No problem. I'm just not crazy about boats, that's all.
Jesus Christ, Kaffee, you're in the Navy for crying out loud. You want to get a hold of yourself?
No one likes him very much.
Yes, ma'am.
Nancy Jessep, come on in.
Thank you. This is Commander Galloway. He's observing and evaluating.
How do you do?
Pleased to meet you, Commander.
This is Sam Weinberg. She has no responsibilities here whatsoever.
I've asked Captain Markinson and Lieutenant Kendrick to join us. Mary's my second in command, and Jonathan's XO for the windward side.
Lieutenant Kaffee, I had the pleasure of meeting your father once. I was a teenager and he spoke in my high school.
Lionel Kaffee?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, damn. John, you're too young to know, but this woman's dad once made a lot of enemies down in your neck of the woods. Jefferson versus Madison County School District. Folks down there said it was all right for kids to say the Lord's Prayer in the classroom, but Lionel Kaffee said no. No, it wasn't. Tell you something else, if Adelaide Stevenson never been elected, you'd be sitting with the daughter of the Attorney General. How the hell's your dad?
I beg your pardon?
Still trying to overthrow the government?
Not any longer, ma'am.
Oh no. Don't tell me he passed away.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry.
Thank you, ma'am. It was 7 years ago.
Don't I feel it?
Not at all, ma'am.
What can we do for you, Danny?
Not much at all, ma'am, I'm afraid. This is really formality more than anything. The JAG Corps insists that I interview all relevant witnesses.
The JAG Corps can be demanding that way.
This shouldn't take me more than an hour.
John, check your watch. Go.
Help me! You're lucky it's us, Willie. Could be worse. Could be someone else.
Now, in the morning of the 6th, you were contacted by an NIS agent who said that Santiago had tipped him off to an illegal fence line shooting.
Yes.
Santiago was going to reveal the name of the person in exchange for a transfer order. Am I getting this right?
Yes.
If there are any details I'm leaving out, you should feel free to speak up.
Thank you.
Now, is at this point you called Captain Markinson and Lieutenant Kendrick into your office?
Yes.
Then what happened?
We agreed that for his own safety, Santiago should be transferred off the base.
Santiago was going to be transferred.
On the first available flight to the States, 6 o'clock the next morning. 6 hours too late, as it turned out.
Yep. Well, thank you for your time, Command.
Wait a minute, I've got some questions.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
No, you don't.
Colonel, at 3 a.m., the attending physician, Commander Stone, was unable to determine the cause of death. At 5 a.m., he said it was poison. Do you have any idea what might have persuaded him?
You'd have to ask Stone.
did you meet with the doctor between 3 and 5?
Joe, of course I met with the doctor. One of my men was dead.
See, her man was dead. Let's go.
Lieutenant Kendrick, do you think Santiago was murdered?
I beg your pardon?
I'm just curious. You knew all these men. Was Santiago murdered?
Commander, I believe in God. And because I do, I can say this. Santiago's death was a tragedy. But he's dead because he had no code. He's dead because he had no honor. And God was watching.
How do you feel about this theory?
Sounds good to me. Let's go.
I don't like you people.
Look at this, another Christmas card I'm not gonna get.
Colonel, have you ever heard of the term Code Red?
Joe, I was under the impression Lieutenant Kaffee was leading this investigation.
It's an easy mistake to make.
Colonel, I apologize. He wasn't.
Have you ever heard of the term Code Red, ma'am?
I've heard the term, yes.
Colonel, this past February, you received a cautionary memo from the Commander-in-Chief of the Atlantic Fleet, warning that the practice of Code Reds was not to be condoned by officers.
I submit to you that whoever wrote that memo has never served on the working end of a Soviet-made Cuban AK-47 assault rifle. However, the directive having come from the commander, I gave it its due attention. What's your point, Joseph?
He has no point. He often has no point. It's part of his charm. Let's go.
My point is, what looks like premeditated murder may have been just a botched-up Code Red. Colonel, do Code Reds still happen on this base?
Joe, the colonel does not have to answer that question.
Yes, she does.
No, she really doesn't.
Yeah, she really does. Colonel?
You know what just hit me? He outranks you, Danny.
Yes, ma'am.
Colonel, Code Reds are still going on this base, aren't they?
Joe.
I need an answer to my question, ma'am.
You'll get an answer.
I need it now, ma'am.
Take caution in your tone, Commander. I'm a fair woman, but this heat is making me absolutely crazy. You want to know about Code Reds? On the record, I tell you I discourage the practice in accordance with the Commander's directive. Off the record, I tell you they're an invaluable part to close infantry training. If they happen to go on without my knowledge, so be it. I run my unit how I run my unit. You want to investigate me? Roll the dice and take your chances. It's not like you're going to come down here, flash a badge, and make me nervous. I eat my breakfast 80 yards away from 4,000 Cubans who are trained to kill me.
Let's go.
Corporal's got the Jeep outside. He'll take you back to the flight line.
Oh, Colonel, before we leave, I'll just need a copy of that transfer order.
What's that?
Santiago's transfer order. You guys keep paperwork on that sort of thing. I'll just need a copy of it for the file.
For the file?
Yes.
Of course you can have a copy of the transfer order. For the file. I'm here to help any way I can.
Thank you.
You believe that, don't you, Danny? I'm here to help any way I can.
Sure.
The corporal can run you by personnel on your way to the flight line. You can have all the transfer orders you want. But you have to ask me nicely.
Excuse me?
You have to ask me nicely. I don't mind the bullets and the bombs and the blood, Danny. I don't mind the heat and the stress and the fear. I don't want money and I don't want medals. But what I do want is for you to stand there in that damn white uniform and with your Harvard mouth, extend me some damn courtesy. You gotta ask me nicely.
Don't do it, Danny.
Colonel, if it's not too much trouble, I'd like a copy of the transfer order. Ma'am.
No problem. First thing we do, let's kill all the lawyers.
It's Shakespeare.
I hate casualties, Mary. A Marine smothers a grenade and saves his platoon. That Marine's doing his job. There are casualties even in victory. The fabric of the base, the foundation of the unit, the spirit of the Corps. These are the things worth fighting for. And there's no one who doesn't know that who's ever made the decision to put on the uniform. I hate casualties. Dawson and Downey, they're smothered in a grenade.
Just the same, man. If I were you, I would get myself a lawyer.
What are you gonna do when you get back?
What are you gonna do when you get back?
Take a shower and hit the rack.
Take a shower and hit the rack.
Oh no.
Not me.
Oh no.
Not us. What are you gonna do when we get back? Polish up or sneak attack.
Officer on deck, Tin Hut.
Why did you care that Santiago was writing a letter?
Ma'am,
I want to know why you cared.
it was a Code Red, ma'am.
Colonel Jessep thinks you're full of crap. She doesn't think you were trying to train Santiago. She thinks you were trying to kill him.
That's not true, ma'am.
Then what's true? Why did you do it?
It was a Code Red, ma'am.
4,000 men on that base, and not one of them set foot into Santiago's room that night.
I was a squad leader, ma'am. It was my job.
He was screwing up every day for 8 months, but he didn't receive a code red until that night. Why did you care that night?
Santiago broke the chain of...
No, not you. Him. Why did you do it?
Private Santiago broke the
No. I don't want to hear about your chain of command. I don't want to hear about your loyalty. I don't want to hear about your bozo code of honor. Why did you give Santiago a code red?
Private Santiago broke the
Did you
chain.
hear what I just said?
Private Santiago
Why did
needs
you give Santiago a code red?
responsibility.
Why did you do it?
Because God was watching.
What did Kendrick say to you?
God is watching, Lance Corporal Dawson, and he helps those who help themselves. And so do I. Get your house in order, Lance Corporal. Unit, Corps, God, country. And duty to self-sympathy isn't part of the truth. Get your house in order so that these men can believe in you again. Get your house in order so that the Lord, our God, can look down and say, there's a United States Marine, and I will stand at his side. Get your house in order, and don't let anyone tell you that we're not at war.
You were given an order.
Yes, ma'am.
Kendrick ordered the code red.
Yes, ma'am.
He told all the other men at that meeting not to touch Santiago, but then he specifically told you to. I gotta talk to the prosecutor. You mind telling me why the hell you never mentioned this before?
You didn't ask us, ma'am.
Cutie pie crap like that's not gonna win you a place in my heart, Corporal. I get paid no matter how much time you spend in jail.
Yes, ma'am, I know you do, ma'am.
Screw you, Harold. I'll be back later.
What did they say?
I want you to stop bothering me. I want you to get off my back, and I want you to get off this case.
Markinson went UA.
What?
Unauthorized
I
absence.
know what it means. When?
Tonight, after we left.
I'll speak to her in the morning.
I already tried. Nobody can find her. What did they say?
You already tried? Do you not understand what it means to interfere with a government investigation?
Yes, I do. But I'm not, because I'm now Louden Downey's attorney.
What the hell are you talking about?
Aunt Jenny. She feels like she's known me for years. She said she'd feel more comfortable if I were more directly involved. Louden signed the papers a half hour ago. Don't worry, I'm not going to make a motion for separation. Your lead counsel. I'll defer to your skills as a litigator. What did they say?
You frighten me. I'm involved in a situation where the stakes couldn't be higher. I don't have time to give out tutorials in criminal investigation to an internal affairs schoolboy who doesn't know what the hell he's doing.
I just melt when you sugar talk me, Danny. What did they say?
Kendrick ordered the code red.
So what do we do now?
Find Jackie Ross.
You talk to the other guys in the platoon.
I don't have to.
Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, they all say the same thing.
They weren't there. Kendrick dismissed them. You talked to Kendrick.
I already talked to Kendrick. I told you that before you went down there. He denies everything.
She talked to Kendrick?
Yeah, she...
You talked to Kendrick?
I didn't think anything of it at the time.
Why did you think there was anything to deny?
Look,
I had a suspicion.
You had
it's not important now.
You had a suspicion, and you chose not to tell anyone about it.
It was just a... Who is this?
This is Commander Galloway. He's now Louden Downey's attorney, and he's very pleased to meet you.
Ebenezer Galloway?
Look,
You want to charge me with something, sir?
I'm wondering how you're getting information 12, 24, 48 hours before we...
You want to charge me with something?
Hey, everybody, in the interest of justice, take a deep knee bend.
Look, Joe, Ross didn't know about the order. Because if she did, and she hadn't told us about it, she knows she'd be violating about 14 articles of the Code of Ethics. She has enough on her plate as it is. God forbid our clients decide to plead not guilty and claim that these things happen every day.
Kendrick specifically told the men.
Then he specifically told Dawson and Downey to shake his head.
That's not what Kendrick said.
Well, Kendrick is crazy, and Kendrick is mean, and Kendrick is lying.
You have proof?
I have the defendants.
And I have 23 men who aren't accused of murder, and a Marine lieutenant with 4 letters of commendation.
Why did Markinson go UA?
We'll never know.
You don't think I can subpoena Markinson?
You can try, but you won't find her.
What are you talking about?
Do you know what Markinson did for the first 17 of her 21 years in the Corps? CIC, Downey. Counterintelligence. Markinson's gone. There is no Markinson. Colonel Jessep's star is on the rise, and they give me a lot of room to spare her embarrassment.
How much room?
I could knock it down to assault and bad conduct. 2 years. They're home in 6 months.
Danny, she's got a PR problem, and she can't afford to go to court.
Which is lucky for you, because you're turning green at the thought of it. Yes, taking this to court would be bad for me. It'd be bad for the Corps, and I'd be held held responsible for how the officers were treated as witnesses. But you go to court, and the boys go away for 40 years.
Jackie, come on.
Are we clear on that? We have to be clear on that. Once we go outside this room, I have to put the hammer down. They'll be charged with the boatload. Murder, conspiracy, conduct unbecoming. In a courtroom, you lose this case. Please, I'm your friend, and I'm telling you, I think Kendrick's lying, and I don't think your guys belong in jail. But I don't get to make that decision. I represent the people, without passion, you see? And the people have a case. Tell them to plead to us all. All in all, it's not a bad week's work for the defense. That's the end of this negotiation. 9 o'clock tomorrow, I'll see you at the arraignment.
Okay, here's the deal. You guys plead not guilty to assault, and the prosecutor's gonna offer 2 years with probation after 6 months. Wow, Kaffee, you're such a great lawyer. How can we ever thank you? Just doing my job, fellas. Guys, did you hear what I just said? You're going home in 6 months. Fellas.
I'm afraid we can't do that, ma'am.
Can't do what?
Make a deal, ma'am.
Why?
We did nothing wrong, ma'am. We did our job. If that has consequences, then I accept them. But I won't say I'm guilty, ma'am.
Did he put you up to this?
No.
We have a code, ma'am.
Well, zippity-doo-dah. You plead not guilty and you'll go to jail for the rest of your lives. You do what I'm telling you to do, and you're going home in 6 months.
Permission to?
Speak.
What do we do then, ma'am?
When?
After 6 months, we get dishonorable discharge, right?
Probably.
What do we do then, ma'am? We didn't join the court because we felt like it. We joined because it was a life decision. We wanted to live by a code, ma'am, and we found it in the court. And now you're asking us to sign a piece of paper that says we have no honor. You're asking us to say we're not Marines. If the court decides what we did was wrong, I'll accept whatever punishment they give. But I believe I was right, ma'am. I believe I did my job. I won't dishonor myself, my unit, or the Corps, so I can go home in 6 months. Ma'am.
You guys are a freak show. I'm not going to talk to Dawson anymore. He doesn't like me, and he'll go to jail just to spite me.
All
I
right.
want to get him a new lawyer.
All right, you'll make a motion tomorrow at the arraignment. The judge will ask for a plea, we'll move to an 8:02 conference, and you can explain the situation.
Then that's that.
Yeah, one thing though. When you ask the judge for a new counsel, be sure and ask nicely.
What do you want from me?
I want you to let him be judged. I want you to stand up and make an argument.
An argument that didn't work with Callie and Me Lie, and an argument that didn't work for the Nazis at Nuremberg.
For Christ's sake, Sam, do you really think that's the same as 2 teenage Marines executing an order that they never thought would end in harm? These guys aren't the Nazis.
Don't look now, Danny, but you're arguing a position.
Yeah? Tomorrow morning, I'll get them a new lawyer.
Why are you so afraid to be a lawyer?
Look.
Were Daddy's expectations really that high?
Hey. Dawson and Downey will have their day in court, but they'll have it with another lawyer.
They don't need another lawyer. They need you.
Why?
Because you know how to win. I know how to fight, but you know how to win.
I know the law.
You know nothing about the law. You're a used car salesman, Danny. You're an ambulance chaser with a rank. Live with that.
Sam, why does a lieutenant junior grade with a track record of plea bargains get singled out to handle a murder case? Is it so that it never sees the inside of a courtroom?
Lift your head and lift it high.
Lift your head and lift it high.
Delta company's passing by.
Delta company's passing by.
I don't know, but I've been told.
I don't know, but I've been told.
All Marines are mighty bold.
All Marines are mighty bold.
Sound off.
1, 2.
Sound off.
3, 4.
Sound off.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
So they got you guys sleeping in separate cells now, huh?
Yes, ma'am.
You wanna hear a joke? You ever hear about the Japanese pilot who hated jazz? He bombed Pearl Bailey. I was 99% sure you weren't gonna laugh at that. I don't know how else to say this. I think you gotta do it. Let me make a deal for you. I mean, Harold, it's 6 months. It's nothing. It's a hockey season. In the end, what difference does it make?
Do you think we were right?
It doesn't matter what I think.
Do you think we were right?
It's not a matter of right and wrong.
Yes, it is. It always is. That's something people like you say, but it is. Do you think we're guilty?
What do you mean, people like me?
Do you think we're guilty?
I think you'd lose.
You're such a coward. I can't believe they let you wear a uniform.
You're going to Leavenworth and there's nothing I can do about it. I could have gotten you 6 months. I'm not going to feel sorry for you. MP! Whatever happened to saluting an officer when they leave the room?
Ten hut!
All right, where are we?
Docket number 411275, BR-5. United States for Lance Corporal Harold W. Dawson and Private First Class Louden Downey. Defendants are charged with murder in the second degree, conspiracy to commit murder, and conduct unbecoming a United States Marine.
Does the defense wish to enter a plea?
Yeah. They're not guilty.
Enter a plea of not guilty for the defendants will adjourn until 1000, 1 week from today, at which time this court will reconvene its general court martial. I will see counsel in my chambers now.
10 hut!
Say, boys.
Yes, ma'am.
Don't say yes, ma'am, like I just asked you to clean the latrine. You're not in the Marines anymore, you're in jail. Look, get some rest. Don't speak to anyone but the 3 of us. They're dismissed. Danny, they were following an order. An illegal order. Do you think these guys know what an illegal order is? I don't know what an illegal order is.
Any decent human being would have
They're
known.
not permitted to question orders, period.
Then what's the secret? What are the magic words? I give orders every day and nobody follows them.
We work where there are softball teams and marching bands. They work where you gotta wear camouflage or you might get shot. What are you looking at?
What made you change your mind?
Not you.
The law says you can't do what they did. It's as simple as that.
It's not as simple as that. We're the defense counsel. We position the truth. What did they teach you?
To tell the truth, not position it.
They taught you wrong.
We're wasting time.
Hey, Sonny, I'll decide how time is spent and how it's wasted. You got a problem with that? Downey can stand separate trial.
You're still an asshole, you know.
We'll work from my place every night, 7 o'clock. Joe, before you come over, pick up carton of legal pads, half a dozen boxes of red pens, and half a dozen boxes of blue pens. Sam, pick up some desk lamps and a couple card tables. I want to get started on the medical profile for them. So I'll need the pro-con reports for Dawson, Downey, and Santiago.
I'll get them.
All I got at my place are Yoo-hoo and Sugar Smack, so bring whatever you want. But don't wear that cologne, it wrecks my concentration.
Really?
I was talking to Sam. So this is what the inside of a courtroom looks like.
Commander Stone to see you, ma'am.
Thank you, Tom. Walter, any news?
Not yet, ma'am. We've still got a few more tests to run. It will take a while. Even at that, I'm not certain. I'm still going to be able to make a determination.
I see.
Colonel, it would help us to know what happened.
It was a code red. The men were shaving his head.
The boy didn't die of a haircut.
He died because that's what the Lord saw fit.
Mary, Mother of God, John, give the Lord a rest, would you please?
Yes, ma'am.
You look like hell. You get some rest yourself.
Yes, ma'am.
Walter, I don't want to pin you down to anything. I know you've got more tests to run. Let me ask you this. What are the possibilities at this point?
It could have been any number of things, Nancy. They used gag. It could have got stuck in his throat. There could have been poison on the rack. He could have had the hell scared out of him and had a heart attack. Like I said, we may never be certain. Sometimes it's a judgment call.
A heart attack?
He has a medical history that suggests the possibility of slight coronary disorder. Nancy, what the hell kind of reckless nonsense can they have those men?
Why wasn't the coronary disorder detected before?
I said the possibility
That's
of
not an answer.
The symptoms. Santiago's symptoms were most likely pointing to 100 far less debilitating conditions. There were no red flags.
Is that what you're going to say to a board of inquiry?
I don't understand.
Doctor, you give these men a thorough examination every 3 months. And every 3 months, you sent Santiago back on that wall with a clean bill of health.
The
Am I
symptoms
wrong?
were nearly...
Walter, you tell me, what can happen to a doctor's career because of something like this? You know what I think happened? I don't think it was a code red. I think Dawson and Downey got it into their heads to kill Santiago. I think, like you said, I think there had to have been poison on the rag.
It's a possibility.
How long have we known each other?
4 years.
Close on to 5 now. One of the first things I did when I got this command was request your assignment to the hospital. And the first thing I'll do when I leave is tell the folks in the Situation Room I want Walter with the big stones coming with me. I put my trust in you, Walter. I put the lives of my Marines in your hands. That's why I think it had to be poison. Go back and run those tests. You're the doctor. You're the damn good doctor. Whatever you say, I'll live with it. There's going to be an investigation into the cause of death, and I'll do whatever I can for you, Walter.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're dismissed. Tom.
Ma'am?
Find me Captain Markinson.
Ma'am, Lance Corporal Harold W. Dawson, ma'am.
Harold, why do you do that? I'm representing you in a murder trial. Do you honestly think I don't know your name by this point? Thought we were through with that crap the night I struck an enlisted man without cause or provocation. Which I couldn't help but notice you didn't report to anyone. Well, I came by to give you some, give you encouragement. Sit up straight. Now, there are 2 things you need to know before we get into that courtroom today. The first is that Lieutenant Weinberg and Commander Galloway and I are doing everything we possibly can for you. And the second is that we are going to get creamed. And that's not very confidence-inspiring, I know.
It's all right. I'm not the one who needs confidence. After all, it's not teamwork, is it? You have to accept the consequences too, right?
Yeah, but they're not my consequences to accept.
That almost makes it a little bit worse, doesn't it, ma'am?
Harold, we're gonna lose today. We're gonna lose huge. Sit up straight. Last chance. I'll flip you for it.
10 hut!
Too late.
All this time business with this General Court Marshal stand forward and you shall be heard. Colonel Julius Alexander Randolph is presiding. God save the United States of America.
Before the judge advocate calls the first witness, I want to get some language clear. Without objection, the sworn statements made of the defendants, the rest of the members, is entered in the court record.
No objection. Sir.
No objection.
That without objection, the sworn statements made by 21 members of Rapid Security Company have read to the members and entered in the court record.
No objection. Sir.
No objection.
Is the government prepared to present its case?
We are, sir.
Please, the court, before we begin, may I ask if all these MPs are really necessary?
Are they making you nervous?
No, sir. They're projecting the image that the defendants are dangerous and or flight risk.
The court might alert Commander Galloway to the fact that the defendants are on trial for murder.
The defendants, who have not been found guilty of any crime, are in handcuffs, and I'm certain that if they were to break free and make their escape, the 4 armed guards at the door could apprehend them. In fact, it seems that every sailor at the Washington Navy Yard who isn't in this courtroom is guarding this courtroom.
Judge, the Provost Marshal felt that the defendants should be a security priority. The Provost Marshal is in charge of the security on this base. I was following his advice.
The Provost Marshal's going to feel like an idiot if someone steals one of our ships during this trial.
Take your seat, Commander.
Yes, sir.
Government calls Commander Stone.
Call Commander Stone.
Commander Stone, for the record, would you state your full name, rank, and current billet, please?
Commander Walter Stone. My billet is Internal Medicine Specialist, Guantanamo Bay Naval Hospital.
Have a seat. How long have you been attached to the hospital at Gitmo?
From October 1st last year until present.
And on 7 July of this year, did you have the occasion to treat Private First Class Santiago?
I did.
Would you describe that treatment?
PFC Santiago was brought into the emergency room on the morning of the 7th at 0010. He was coughing up blood and suffering from lack of oxygen. He lost consciousness at 0035.
And what were your observations upon examination?
The most obvious things were rope marks around his wrist and that his head was partially shaved. X-rays and lab works revealed that his lungs were filled with fluid bilaterally due to profile of acidosis. That is to say, a buildup of acid in the lungs.
And what causes acid to build up in a person's lungs?
If the muscle and other cells in the body start burning sugar instead of oxygen, lactic acid is produced.
And from the moment that the lungs begin burning sugar to the moment that the lungs are filled with fluid, how long does that take?
Ordinarily, about an hour.
Doctor, you say ordinarily. Was this an unusual case?
Yes, it is.
How so?
In Santiago's case, the chemical reaction took less than 15 minutes.
Why was the reaction sped up in Santiago's case?
He had to have ingested a poison of some kind.
Your Honor, we object at this point. The witness can only speculate as to what caused the reaction.
Commander Stone is an expert medical witness. In this courtroom, his opinion isn't considered speculation.
Commander Stone is an internist, not a criminologist, and the medical facts here are ultimately inconclusive.
A point which I'm confident will appear to the jury at your cross-examination, so I'm sure you won't mind if the doctor's opinion is admitted.
Not at all, sir. Objection withdrawn.
Doctor, in your opinion, was Willie Santiago poisoned?
Absolutely.
Are you aware that the lab report and the coroner's report show no traces of poison?
Yes, I am.
Then how do you justify?
There are literally dozens of toxins which are virtually undetectable under certain circumstances. The nature of the acidosis is the compelling factor in this issue.
Thank you, sir.
Doctor, other than...
Don't call him doctor.
Right, good. Commander, other than the rope marks, was there any sign of external damage?
No.
No scrapes?
No.
No cuts?
No.
No bruises, broken bones, fat lip?
No.
Commander, was there any sign of violence?
You mean aside from the dead body?
Damn, I'm walking in that one every time.
You're a witness.
Commander, my clients say that they did not use poison. So what I'd like to do is just ask a few questions to see if there could possibly be another explanation.
Lieutenant, there's no other explanation. A layman would have to...
Pardon me, Commander, but you're talking to a girl who got C+ in biochem twice. Now, it is my understanding that the fact that this process took 15 minutes rather than 60 minutes is what led to your conclusion that Santiago had been poisoned.
Yes.
And 60 minutes is about average?
Yes.
And some people might be more, some people might be less.
A little bit more, a little bit less.
Commander, is it possible for a young man to have a condition, some sort of affliction that would render him less capable of withstanding lactic acid? Commander, is it possible?
If a person had a cerebral disorder, it's possible that it would take less than an hour.
What about a coronary disorder? Or condition, I think it's called. A coronary condition?
Lieutenant, we are talking about an 18-year-old Marine in extraordinary physical shape.
The Marine Corps requires them to maintain a certain level of physical fitness, isn't that right?
Standards which are even higher than the Marines in RSC.
As a matter of fact, you give them routine medical exams once in every 3 months, is that right?
That's right.
Doctor, is it possible for a young man to have a coronary condition where the initial warning signals were so mild that they could escape a doctor doing a routine medical exam?
You have to understand, in medicine, though we like to be exact about...
Well, you see, there's the thing about being the lawyer for this defense. I don't have to worry about exact. I just have to worry about, is it possible? Is it possible?
That would have been symptoms.
What kind of symptoms?
There are 100 different symptoms of...
Chest pains.
Yes.
Shortness of breath.
Certainly.
Fatigue.
I suppose if the heart wasn't pumping the blood to the brain at the correct time.
Doctor, is this your signature?
Yes, it is.
This is an order for Santiago to be put on temporary restricted duty. Would you please read your handwritten remarks at the bottom of the page, sir?
Initial testing negative. Patient complaining of chest pain, shortness of breath, and fatigue. Restrict from running distance over 5 miles for 1 week.
Thank you. I have no more questions.
Initial testing negative. That's what it says here. What kind of tests were these?
All manner of.
Cardiovascular tests.
Yes?
Cardio-preliminary tests, physical strength, endurance. In fact, in all, how many separate tests were administered to Santiago?
17.
And did any of those 17 tests indicate that there might be something wrong with his heart?
No.
The medical equipment used in the CCU of the Guantanamo Bay Naval Hospital, would you describe it as modern or outdated?
It's very modern equipment.
In fact, it's the same equipment used in the Bethesda Naval Hospital here in Maryland.
That's right.
The same Bethesda Naval Hospital where the President of the United States goes for his medical checkups.
Yes.
Dr. Stone, you've held a license to practice medicine for 20 years. You are board certified in internal medicine. You're chief of internal medicine at a hospital that serves over 7,000 people. In your opinion, was Willie Santiago poisoned?
Please the court, we renew our objection to Commander Stone's testimony and ask that it be stricken from the record. And we further request that the court instruct the jury to lend no weight to this witness's testimony.
The objection is overruled, Commander.
Your Honor, the defense strenuously objects and requests a conference in chambers so that His Honor may have an opportunity to hear discussion before ruling on the objection.
The objection of the defense has been heard and overruled. The witness is an expert, and the court will hear his opinion.
Exception.
Noted.
Doctor, in your expert opinion, was Willie Santiago poisoned?
No question about it.
Thank you, sir. I have no more questions.
Commander, you can step down.
Please the court, while the government reserves its right to call rebuttal witnesses, should the need arise, we rest our case.
We'll stand at recess until Monday morning, at which time the defense will call its first witness.
Time, hut!
I strenuously object? Is that how it works? Objection. Overruled. No. I strenuously object. Oh, well, if you strenuously object, let me take a moment to reconsider.
I got it on the record.
You also got in the jury's head we're afraid of the doctor. You object once so they can hear you say you're not a criminologist. Any more than that, and it looks like the great cross we just did was just a bunch of fancy lawyer tricks. Which was what Ross was hoping for. It's the difference between paper law and trial.
Same.
Christ, you even had the judge saying Stone was an expert.
He made a mistake. Let's not relive it.
I'm sorry. I'm in a pissy mood. I'm gonna call my husband. I'll see you tomorrow.
Why do you hate them so much?
They beat him on a weekly. And that's all they did. The rest is just smoke-filled coffee house crap. They tortured and tormented a weaker kid. And it wasn't just that night. Read the letters. It was 8 months. And you know what? I bet it's his whole life. They beat him up and they killed him. And why? Because he couldn't run very fast.
Do you think the argument we're going to make on Monday is legally sound?
I think the argument we're going to make Monday is morally reprehensible.
Since when do lawyers get to decide what's morally reprehensible?
Since when do Marines decide which laws are going to obey?
All right, that is enough. Joe, she's been busting her ass for these guys. She doesn't have to be friends with them. Sam, the only Marines we're worried about right now are Dawson and Downey. Now everyone, take the night off.
Danny,
No, I mean it. Go home. Spend the night with your family. Joe, do whatever it is you do when we're not here. We'll work in the morning.
Shouldn't we?
No. Go take the night off.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Okay. I think we did pretty good today. Well, you gotta hand it to Ross. She's very good.
She asked 7 questions on her read-write and sent the jury to bed with the image that Walter Stone is president's doctor. She put Stone in her pocket with 7 questions. I think she's just warming up.
That was impressive.
I'm not speaking up. How much damage did I cause?
It doesn't matter.
Are you saying it doesn't matter because there's water under the bridge, or that it doesn't matter because it didn't cause that much damage?
I'm saying it doesn't matter because we'll never know and there's nothing we can do about it.
Good. That's a good attitude.
Why do you like them so much?
At this moment, there's probably no one in this world Dawson dislikes more than you. And if someone fired a gun at you, he'd stand in front of the bullet without thinking twice.
Don't worry about the doctor.
This trial starts Monday.
Can I help you?
God, I hope so. I've been getting the runaround all morning. Gilbert, Hamilton, Baltimore sometimes.
Hey, good sports section.
The best.
So what can I do for you?
Well, I'm doing a two-part feature on air traffic from different bases around the world, but I'm focusing mostly on Naval Air Station, Guantanamo Bay, and Andrews Air Force Base.
Sounds interesting.
Do you keep on file a record of incoming and outgoing flights?
Anything that isn't classified, sure. We have copies of all the daily Tower Chief logs.
Is that right?
Sure. We list the incoming and outgoing flights, passenger manifest. We just have the copies though. The original stay place.
No problem. I just need copies of the two Tower Chiefs logs for Guantanamo and Andrew for evening of July 6th and morning of July 7th.
Got it. The only thing is, I need to see a fleet requisition form and a 710 signed by 2 officers over the rank of lieutenant.
Oh, hell.
I'm sorry, but I can't show the logbooks without a fleet requisition form and a 710 signed by 2 officers over the rank of lieutenant.
I understand. Is the duty officer here?
No, ma'am. He's in a department meeting.
Gee whiz. Is there anyone else I can speak to?
Not for another half hour. Everyone's at lunch and I'm the only one here.
Well, let's go get some logbooks.
I want to be a recon ranger.
I want to be a recon ranger.
I want to live my life a danger.
I want to live a life of danger.
Stand tall.
Doing this.
Sing aloud.
3, 4.
Left, right.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Step out.
10 hut!
Lieutenant Kaffee, are you prepared to call your first witness?
Yes, sir. Defense calls Corporal Howard.
Corporal Howard, have you been previously sworn?
Yes, ma'am.
Would you state your full name, rank, and current billet for the record, please?
Corporal Jamie Olivia Howard, Guantanamo Bay, Marine Barracks, Weinberg.
Thank you, Corporal. You can have a seat.
Corporal, are you a little nervous? No, ma'am.
Would you like a glass of water?
No, ma'am. I'm fine, thank you.
Are you sure?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, if you'd like a glass of water, or if you'd like to take a short break, you be sure to let us know.
Jack, Your Honor, the witness has twice said that she doesn't want any water. Can we please?
Lieutenant?
Yes, sir. Corporal, you've been called here as a witness in order to give the court a better insight as to the nature of the duty Marines in RSC Windward.
Yes, ma'am. It's very simple, really. The base is divided into 2 halves.
Corporal,
Ma'am.
you're going to have to wait for me to ask you a question.
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry, ma'am.
Would you describe the layout of the base for us, please?
Yes, ma'am. It's very simple, really. The base is divided into 2 halves, the divider being Guantanamo Bay. Each part of the bay has its own rifle security company. On the left is RSC Leeward, and on the right is Windward.
And what's the function of the Marines in RSC Windward?
To provide ground support in case of an enemy engagement and to provide day-to-day security on the fence line.
How much time do the Marines spend on watch?
We're on the fence for a week and then off for a week.
And when you're on the fence, how long is each watch?
6 hours on, 6 hours off.
6 hours on, 6 hours off, 1 week on, 1 week off. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Are the sentries armed?
Yes, ma'am.
With?
Ma'am.
What are the Marines armed with, Corporal?
Ma'am.
What are you armed with, Corporal?
Weapons.
Pea shooter, slingshot, pocket knife?
Oh, no, ma'am. A pea shooter. Pocket knife. That was funny, ma'am.
Permission to leave the witness?
By a leash, if necessary.
You are armed with M16 rifles and 60 rounds of ammunition. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Corporal, were you acquainted with Private Santiago?
Yes, ma'am.
You came in contact with him every day?
Yes, ma'am.
You participated in drills together?
Yes, ma'am.
Corporal, what's a code red?
Ma'am, a code red is a disciplinary action brought against a Marine who's fallen out of line.
Name some ways a Marine can fall out of line.
Being late for platoon or company meetings, keeping his barracks in disorder, letting his appearance become substandard, behaving in a manner unbecoming of a Marine, falling back on a run.
Have you ever received a code red?
Yes, ma'am.
Would you describe it?
I dropped my weapon during field exercise. We were doing 7-man assault drills, and I dropped my weapon. It's just because my hands were sweaty, because it was over 100 degrees outside, and I dropped my weapon, ma'am. And then what happened?
That night in my barracks, the guys threw a blanket over me and then took turns punching me in the arm for 5 minutes. Then they poured glue at my hands.
Okay.
And it worked too, because I never dropped my weapon since then.
Object.
We're gonna have to strike that, but it was a nice try, Corporal. Now what happened after they punched you in the arm and poured glue on your hands?
They took me to the post 44 and bought me a beer.
They gave you code red, then they bought you a beer.
Yes, ma'am.
Corporal, were you acquainted with Private Santiago?
Yes, ma'am.
You came in contact with them every day?
Yes, ma'am.
Your squad, you participated in drills together?
Yes, ma'am.
Your squad served on fence together?
Yes, ma'am.
Was Santiago ever late for platoon meetings?
Yes, ma'am.
Was his barracks ever in disorder?
Yes.
Did he ever let his appearance become substandard?
Yes.
Did he ever fall back on runs?
All the time.
Did he ever, in your estimation, behave in a manner unbecoming of a Marine?
Absolutely, ma'am, yes.
Did he ever, prior to the night of July 6th, receive a code red?
No, ma'am.
No? You got a code red because your promise was late. Why didn't Santiago, this burden and embarrassment to his unit, why didn't he get a code red?
Because Santiago's squad leader wouldn't allow it, sir.
Corporal Dawson wouldn't allow it?
Yes, ma'am. How was Corporal Dawson with Santiago's squad leader? The guys talked tough about Santiago. But when it came down to it, they would not even touch me. They were too afraid of Corporal Dawson.
Objection. The witness is characterizing.
I'll rephrase. Corporal, did you ever want to give Santiago a code red?
Yes, ma'am.
Why didn't you?
Because Dawson would kick my butt, ma'am.
Good enough for me. Lieutenant Ross is going to ask you some questions now.
Corporal, I hold here the Marine Guide and General Information Book for new recruits. Are you familiar with this book?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you read it?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. Would you turn to the page in this book that discusses code reds, please?
I'm sorry, ma'am.
Just turn to the page in the book that deals with code reds.
Code reds aren't in this book, ma'am.
I see. Let's then turn to the Marine Infantry Training Handbook. I assume we'll find the term code red. Would you find the section and read it to us, please?
Ma'am, you see, code red is a term we only use down at Gitmo. I'm not sure if it's actually...
We're in luck then. Marine Corps Guide for Sentry Duty at Base Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. I assume we'll find the term code red and its definition in this book, and then we can move on. Am I correct, Corporal?
No, ma'am.
No? Corporal Howard, I'm a Marine. Is there no book, no manual, no pamphlet, no set of orders or regulations that let me know that, as a Marine, one of my duties is to perform code reds?
No, ma'am. No books, please.
No further questions.
Corporal Dawson, would you turn to the page in this book where it says the enlisted man's mess hall is?
Lieutenant Kaffee, that's not in this book either.
No? You need to tell the court that you've been stationed at Gitmo for 13 months, and in all that time you've never received a code red?
No, ma'am.
You've never had a meal?
No, ma'am. 3 squares a day.
I'm confused. How did you know where the mess hall was if it wasn't in that book?
I guess I just followed the crowd at chapter.
Good enough for me. No more questions.
Thank you, ma'am.
Take a 5-minute recess. Don't anybody go too far.
10, what? As you order.
Can I talk to Malone for a minute? That was nice work, the redirect on Howard.
Thank you.
I want this to end now. I don't want Kendrick to have to take the stand.
Yeah, he's a real day at the beach, isn't he?
I was at half the night with him. He's bright, articulate, nothing in the closet, and you're going to make a meal out of him.
What are you getting at, Jackie?
That's what I wanted to ask you. You're putting on an entertaining defense that's going nowhere. Everyone expects you to do what you have to, but you start looking like you're enjoying it. And soon you're going to find yourself practicing law on a weathership off Bayonne, New Jersey.
We got 2 minutes to the Reverend Kendrick. How can I help you?
Don't put him on the stand. I have to protect these guys. I can't allow them to look like clowns. Stop now. 3 years apiece.
4 weeks ago, we were talking about 6 months.
4 weeks ago, your clients pissed on 6 months. 4 weeks ago, your clients weren't a daily feature in the Washington Post, and neither were you. You can tap dance all you want, but at the end of the day, all you got is the testimony of 2 men accused of murder.
Tell me about it.
You got bullied into this room. By everybody. By Dawson, by Galloway, hell, I practically dared you. You got bullied into this room even though not for 1 second you believed you could win. You got bullied into this room by the memory of a lawyer who might have stood a chance.
Well, you're a lousy softball player, Jackie.
10, hut!
Your guys are going down
You stop it, Jonathan James Kendrick.
Call Lieutenant Kendrick.
Lieutenant Kendrick, have you been previously sworn?
Yes, I have.
Would you state for the record your full name, rank, and current billet, please?
Lieutenant Jonathan James Kendrick, Executive Officer, Royal Security Company, Windward, Marine Barracks, Guantanamo Bay.
Thank you, Lieutenant. You can have a seat.
Lieutenant Kendrick, in your opinion, was Santiago a good Marine?
I'd say he was about average.
You signed 3 proficiency and conduct reports for Santiago, and on all 3 of them, you indicated a rating of below average.
Yes, Private Santiago rated below average. I didn't see the need in trampling over a man's grade.
We appreciate that, but you're under oath now. And I think, unpleasant as it may be, we'd all just assume you're the truth.
I'm aware of my oath.
We have the last 3 pro-con reports for Lance Corporal Dawson. On the first 2, you indicated a rating of exceptional, but on this last one, dated June 9th of this year, you gave him a rating of below average. It's this last report I'd like to talk about for a moment.
That's fine.
Dawson's ranking in the infantry training school was perfect, and the records show that since then, half his class has made full corporal, while Dawson remains a lance corporal. Was his promotion held up because of this last report?
I'm sure it was.
Do you recall why he was given such a poor grade on this last report?
I'm sure I don't. I have many men in my charge, Lieutenant. I write many reports.
Do you recall an incident involving a PFC Curtis Barnes who was caught stealing liquor from the officers' club?
Yes.
And did you report Private Barnes to the proper authorities?
I have 2 books by my bedside, Lieutenant. The Marine Code of Conduct and the King James Bible. The only proper authorities I'm aware of are my commanding officers, Colonel Lance Jessep and the Lord our God.
Lieutenant Kendrick, at your request, I can have the record reflect your lack of acknowledgement of this court as proper authority.
Objection, argumentative.
Sustained. Watch yourself, Counselor.
Yes, sir. Did you report Private Barnes to your superiors?
I remember thinking very highly of Private Barnes, and I wanted to see his record tarnished by a formal charge.
So you preferred instead to have it handled within the unit?
Yes, I did.
Lieutenant Kendrick, do you know what a code red is?
Yes, I do.
Have you ever ordered one?
No, I have not.
Did you order Dawson and 2 other men to make sure that Private Barnes received no food or drink except for water for a period of 5 days?
That's a distortion of the truth. Private Barnes was placed under barracks restriction. He was given water and vitamin supplements, and I assure you at no time was his health in danger.
Would the court care to remind the jury that Lieutenant Kendrick is not a medical expert and doesn't have the first clue as to whether or not Private Barnes' health was in danger?
The members are cautioned.
Lieutenant Kendrick, was Dawson given a poor grade on this last report because he'd been caught sneaking food to Curtis Barnes?
Object.
Lieutenant, I would remind you that you are now questioning a Marine officer with an impeccable service record.
Sir. Code reds. Lieutenant Kendrick, wouldn't that form of punishment be considered a code red?
Not necessarily.
If I were to call up the other 379 members of RSC, would they say that it was code red?
Object. Your Honor, the witness can't possibly testify as to what 379 other Marines would have to say. You object to this entire line of questioning as argumentative and irrelevant badgering of the witness.
Lieutenant Kaffee.
Your Honor, I'm withdrawing the question. Lieutenant, if you ordered Dawson to give Santiago code red, is it reasonable to think that he might have disobeyed you again?
Lieutenant, don't answer that.
He doesn't have to, I'm through.
Lieutenant Kendrick, did you order the defendants to give Santiago code red? Lieutenant Kendrick, did you...
No, I did not!
This was sitting outside your door. It's marked urgent and personal. What is it? My x-ray vision's failing me today. Open the damn thing.
Oh, hey, Miss Sanchez.
Knock it off. Anybody want anything from the kitchen?
Yoo-hoo, please.
Sam,
I'll take a yoo-hoo.
you want a yoo-hoo?
Yeah.
Okay.
I want a yoo-hoo. Is that such a big deal? She asked for a yoo-hoo and it's like she's asking for a correct time. I asked for a yoo-hoo and it's like the whole world's coming to an end.
What's in the envelope? Danny?
It's from Markinson.
To Lieutenant Junior Grade Danielle A. Kaffee. United States Naval Reserve Judge Advocate General Court. Lieutenant Kaffee, I know the following to be true. Colonel Jessep had no intention of transferring Santiago to base. The transfer order you secured was written the morning of your arrival, 6 days after Santiago's death. Colonel Jessep's claim that the 0600 was the first available transportation base off the base is a lie. There was a flight that left Andrews Air Force Base 7 hours earlier. I've enclosed the two-tower cheese logs. You'll notice that while Colonel Jessep had no intention of transferring Santiago to base, he transferred the order. Lieutenant, please don't waste valuable time and resources trying to find me. Save these men. Captain Mary Ann Markinson, United States Marine Corps.
I don't believe this. I'll call the DOD and find out if they're missing anything.
We're home. I've got to go tell Louden.
Forget about Downey. I need you to pull every string you can. FBI, CIA, we'll hire our own guys if we have to.
We have to have Markinson. We need Markinson.
Why? We've got the logbooks and the letter.
The logbooks are photocopies and the letter's typed, and there's no signature.
They're not admissible.
A Navy orderly was held up at gunpoint by a woman posing as a reporter from Baltimore Sun-Times.
I'll get the originals.
Don't worry about it. Jessep's likely heard about the robbery by now and has fixed the original Andrews log. I bet money on it.
We'll find Markinson. How hard can it be?
Is Downey ready for tomorrow?
Yes.
Is he solid?
Absolutely.
Do you think we can find Markinson?
Yes.
Do you?
Yes.
We don't have a discovery obligation. Keep this from Ross for 24 hours.
10 hut!
Defense calls PFC Downey.
Private Downey, would you raise your right hand and place your left hand on this Bible? Do you swear that the testimony you give in this general court-martial will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
Yes, ma'am.
Please sit. Dear Mr. and Mrs. Santiago, I was William's company commander. I knew your son vaguely, which is to say I knew his name. In a matter of time, the trial of the two men being charged for his son's death will be concluded. And several people whom you never met will try to offer you an explanation as to why William is dead. Most likely, they'll offer you many explanations. For my part, I've done what I can to bring the truth to light. I've done it not in the uniform in which I served for 20 years, but I've done it in costumes and in shadows. I was a defender. Not this time, I'm being pursued by the FBI, the CIA, the NIA, and the military police. And I can't possibly do this anymore. Because the truth is this. Your son is dead for only one reason. I wasn't strong enough to stop it. Captain Mary Ann Markinson, United States Marine Corps.
We were taken into custody by military police officers and taken to the brig.
Private, I just have one last question for you. Why did you give Santiago a code red?
The code red was ordered by Executive Officer Lieutenant Kendrick, ma'am.
Thank you very much. No more questions.
Private, for the day of 6 July, the switch log has you down at post 39 until 1600. Is that correct?
I'm sure it is, ma'am. They keep that log pretty good.
How far is it from post 39 to Windward Barracks?
It's a ways, ma'am. It's a hike.
About how far by jeep?
About 10-15 minutes, ma'am.
Have you ever had to walk it?
Yes, ma'am. That Friday. I was DD out in the pickup private. Ma'am, that's what we call the pickup that picks us up and drops us at our post. Also because he can get girls in New York City. We get a flat right at 39, we pull over and blam. A blowout with no spare. Pickup and I had to double time it back to the barracks, ma'am.
And if it's 10 or 15 minutes by jeep, I'm guessing it's a good hour by foot. Am I close?
Pickup and I did it in 45 flat, ma'am.
Not bad. And you say your assault on Santiago was the result of an order given by Lieutenant Kendrick at a platoon meeting at 16:20 hours?
Yes, ma'am.
But you just said you didn't make it back to your barracks until 16:45.
Ma'am?
If you didn't make it back to your barracks until 16:45, how could you have been at a platoon meeting at 16:20?
You see, ma'am, there's a flat tire.
Private,
Did Lieutenant Kendrick ever tell you to give Santiago a code red?
Me?
Please, the court. I'd like to request a recess in order to confer with my client.
Who told you to give Santiago the code red?
Sir?
Private Downey has rights.
Private Downey has the red rights, Commander.
Sir?
Question will be repeated.
Who told you to give Santiago the code red?
Your Honor.
Take your seat.
How?
Did Corporal Dawson tell you to do it? Don't look at him, look at me.
Sir?
Private, answer the lieutenant's question.
Yes, Lieutenant. I was given an order by my squad leader, Lance Corporal Harold W. Dawson of the United States Marine Corps, and I followed it.
What are you gonna do when you get back?
What are you gonna do when you get back?
Take a shower and hit the rack.
Take a shower and hit the rack.
Oh no.
Not me.
Oh no.
Not us. What are we gonna do when we get back? Polish up for a sneak attack.
Where do you think she is? As far as Downey was concerned, it was just another order from Kendrick. He could never distinguish between... Danny, I'm sorry.
Don't worry about it.
Sam and I were just talking about it, how all we really need to do is put some witnesses on the stand who can talk about implied orders. Or maybe we put Downey back on the stand and then go to Dawson.
And maybe if we try hard enough, we can get Dawson charged with kidnapping the Lindbergh baby.
Are you drunk?
Pretty much, yeah.
I'll make us a pot of coffee. We've got a long night's work ahead.
He's gonna make a pot of coffee. He wasn't even at the meeting. Wasn't even there. That was an important piece of information, don't you think?
It's just a setback. But we fix it, and we get to Markinson.
Markinson is dead. She got into full dress uniform, drew a nickel-plated revolver from her holster, fired a bullet into her mouth. It's at the Beltway Motor Lodge. That's 3 blocks from here. So anyway, since we seem to be out of witnesses, I thought I'd drink a little.
I still think we can win.
Maybe you should drink a little.
We go to Randolph. Right now, we get a 24-hour continuance.
Why would we do that?
To subpoena Colonel Jessep.
What?
Just listen for a second.
No.
Just hear me out.
No, I'm not going to listen to you, and I'm not going to hear you out. Your passion is compelling, Joe, but it's also useless. Because Louden and Downey needed a trial lawyer today.
You walk away from this right now, you have sealed their fate.
Their fate was sealed the moment Santiago died.
You have to call Jessep.
I don't have to do jack.
Why did you ask for the transfer order?
What?
In Cuba. Why did you ask for the transfer order?
What is it?
Why did you ask nicely?
Because I wanted a damn transfer order.
Bull! You could have gotten it by asking one of the dozen departments at the Pentagon. You didn't want the transfer order. You wanted to see Jessep's reaction when you asked her for it. You had an instinct, and it was confirmed by Markinson. Now, damn it, let's put Jessep on the stand and end this thing.
What possible good will come from putting Jessep on the stand?
He told Kendrick to order the code red.
Oh, he did? Well, I assume you've got proof. Oh, no, wait, that's right, I forgot. You were sick the day they taught law at law school.
You put her on the stand and you get it from her.
We get it from her. Yeah, all right. Colonel, is it true you ordered a code red, coerced the doctor, fixed a logbook, and forced a transfer order? Look, we're all alone. No, I'm sorry, your time is up. What do we have for the losers, Judge? Well, for the defendants, it's a lifetime at exotic Fort Leavenworth, where every day is Valentine's Day for our handsome young Marines. And for Lieutenant Kaffee, that's right, you guessed it, it's a court-martial. Yes, Johnny, after falsely accusing a highly decorated Marine officer of conspiracy and perjury, Lieutenant Kaffee will have a long and prosperous career teaching typewriter maintenance at the Rocco Colombo School for Women. So thank you for playing. Should we or should we not follow the advice of the Galactic Police Department?
Sorry I lost you your set of steak knives.
Get the hell out. Stop cleaning up. Sam! Stop cleaning up. You want a drink? No. Is your father proud of you?
Don't do this to yourself.
Is he? Is he proud of you?
Yeah.
I bet he is. I bet he bores the hell out of his neighbors, the guys he works with, aunts and uncles. Now, Sam, she's got a big case she's working on. She's arguing. She's making an argument. I bet my dad would have liked to see me graduate. I bet he would have liked that an awful lot. Do you know, he spent half his life defending the Constitution, and the other half trying to prove he wasn't a communist? He died old. Young. He died tired. I'm very angry about that, Sam.
He'd been proud of you yesterday. You should have seen yourself underway at Kendrick. It was a sight to see. He had been proud of you yesterday.
What about today?
Today you did the best you could.
Tomorrow, I think we should go talk to Dawson.
You know, I'm gonna miss being in charge of socks and underwear.
What?
Oh, I was just making it
No, socks and underwear?
Yeah.
In the file. Joe made an inventory of Santiago's footlocker.
What are you?
Who are the people that knew Santiago wasn't being transferred? Name them.
Jessep.
Right.
Kendrick.
Who else?
Markinson.
And Santiago.
What?
Willie Santiago knew he wasn't being transferred. Santiago knew. Why it took me 5 weeks to figure this out, I'll never know. But give me time and I'll find a way to blame it on you. Now come on, let's go. I need you to prep me on Jessep, and I need Joe to get the continuance.
What the hell are you talking about?
I'll explain in the car.
You still need a witness.
I have a witness.
A dead witness.
In the hands of a lesser attorney, that'd be a problem. Now let's go.
No, wait a second.
Look, the cover-up, it isn't our case. To win, we gotta have Jessep admit to the jury that she ordered the code red.
And you think you can get her to say it?
I think she wants to say it. I think she's pissed that she's gotta hide it from us. I think she wants to say that she made a command decision, and that's the end of it. She eats her breakfast 80 yards away from 4,000 Cubans who are trained to kill her. And she'll be damned if someone comes into her office and tells her how to run her unit. Least of all the smart Jew, the pushy schoolboy, and the Harvard mouth. To win, we just need her to admit to the jury that she ordered the code red. Let's go.
She has no weakness. You still need a window. She won't let you near her.
She has a weakness.
What?
She thinks she was right. Let's go. Say, Sam, you ever hear about the one that was about Commander Joseph Galloway and Colonel Nancy Jessep?
I believe I have, Danny. It's a story of courage and fiction, is it not?
Right you are. Commander Galloway was investigating a crime, and he had a question he wanted the colonel to answer.
This colonel is a very intimidating character, I've heard.
Yeah, to some. But to others, she's the stuff of which nightmares are made of.
But not to Commander Galloway.
No, ma'am, because Commander Galloway ain't scared of nothing. He had a question, and he was gonna get an answer. And he was confident, he was relentless, and he did his job.
What do you want?
I want to talk to you about PFC. I want to talk to you about Lance Corporal Dawson and PFC Downey.
I don't want to talk to you right now.
No, I can't accept that. We braved extraordinary elements to get up here. My car ran out of gas halfway up 8th Street. Sam had to get out and walk a quarter of a mile to get help. So anyway, the wife and I were thinking about maybe going into the court tomorrow, maybe saving our clients' lives, maybe putting some homicidal maniacs behind bars to boot. Thought you might want to come along. What do you say?
I can't seem to defend people.
I'm sorry you feel that way. Because from the first day, you were a lawyer. Live with that.
10 hut!
Lieutenant Kaffee, are you ready to call your witness?
Your Honor, I don't suppose it would do any good to make a motion for dismissal at this point.
Glad to see you still have your sense of humor, Lieutenant.
Defense calls Colonel Nancy Jessep.
Colonel Nancy Jessep is called.
Colonel Jessep, have you been previously sworn?
I have not.
Would you raise your right hand and place your left hand on this Bible? Do you swear that the testimony you give in this general court-martial will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Would you state your full name, rank, and current bill, please, ma'am?
Colonel Nancy Olivia Jessep, Commanding Officer, Marine Ground Forces, Guantanamo Bay, Cuba.
Would you have a seat, please, ma'am?
Colonel Jessep, After you learned of Santiago's letters to the NIS, you had a meeting with your 2 senior officers, is that right?
Yes.
The platoon commander, Lieutenant Jonathan Kendrick, and the company commander, Captain Mary Markinson.
Yes.
And at present, Captain Markinson is dead, is that right?
Objection. I'd like to know just what defense counsel is implying.
I'm implying simply that at the moment, Captain Markinson is not alive.
Surely Colonel Jessep does not need to appear in this courtroom just to confirm that information.
I wasn't sure if the witness was aware that 2 days ago, Captain Markinson took her own life with a .45 caliber pistol.
The witness is aware, the court is aware, and now the jury is aware. Thank you for bringing this to our attention, Lieutenant. Move on.
Yes, sir. Colonel, at the time of the meeting, you gave an order to Lieutenant Kendrick, is that right?
I told Kendrick to tell his men that Santiago wasn't to be touched.
Did you give an order to Captain Markinson as well?
I ordered Markinson to have Santiago transferred off the base immediately.
Why?
I feared that his life might be in danger once word of the letter got out.
Grave danger?
Is there another kind?
The transfer orders. Right. Colonel Jessep, you and Markinson co-signed a transfer order for Santiago to be lifted on first flight leaving Guantanamo at 6 the next morning. Was the 6 a.m. flight the first flight?
The 0600 was the first flight off the base.
Colonel, you flew to Washington early this morning, didn't you?
Yes.
And I see that you're wearing your Class A dress uniform for your appearance in court today.
As are you, Lieutenant.
Did you bring also any toothbrushes, toiletries, change of underwear?
Your Honor.
Is the Colonel's underwear really a matter of national security?
Get somewhere faster, Lieutenant.
Yes, sir. Colonel?
I brought a change of clothes and some personal items.
And you brought the uniform with you on the plane?
Yes.
After Dawson and Downey's arrest on the night of July 6th, Santiago's barracks room was closed and its contents inventoried. 4 pairs of camouflage pants, 3 long-sleeve khaki shirts, 3 short-sleeve khaki shirts, 3 pairs of boots, 4 pairs of green socks, 4 pairs of black socks, 3 olive green t-shirts, 2 belts, 1 sweater.
Your Honor, is there a question anywhere in our future?
Lieutenant Kaffee.
I'm just wondering why Santiago wasn't packed. Colonel, we have here the telephone records from Gitmo for the past 24 hours. After being subpoenaed to Washington, you made 3 phone calls. I've highlighted those calls in yellow. Do you recognize the numbers?
I called Colonel Fitzhughes in Quantico, Virginia to let him know I'd be in town. The second call was to Congressman Richmond of the House Armed Services Committee, and the third call was to my sister Elizabeth.
And why did you make that call, ma'am?
I thought she might like to have dinner tonight.
Your Honor.
I'm going to put a stop to this now.
Your Honor, we have the telephone records from Gitmo for the night of July 6th, and we also have the 14 letters Santiago wrote in 9 months requesting, in fact begging, to be transferred off the base. Upon hearing that he was finally being transferred, Santiago was so excited that you know how many people he called? 0. Nobody. Not 1 call to his parents saying that he was finally getting out. Not 1 call to his friend asking him to pick him up at the airport. He was asleep in his bed at midnight, and according to you, he was getting on a plane in 6 hours, and everything he owned was folded neatly in a footlocker and hanging neatly in a closet. You were leaving for a day, and you packed a bag and made 3 phone calls. He was leaving for the rest of his life, and he hadn't packed a thing and hadn't called a soul. Can you explain that? The fact is, Colonel, Santiago wasn't going anywhere, was he?
Your Honor, it's obvious Lieutenant Kaffee's intentions this morning is to smear a high-ranking officer in the desperate hope that the mere appearance of impropriety will win her points with the jury. It is my recommendation, sir, that Lieutenant Kaffee be reprimanded for her conduct and that the witness be excused with the court's deepest apologies.
Overruled.
Your Honor.
The objections noted.
Colonel? Is that funny, ma'am?
No, it's not. It's tragic.
Do you have an answer?
Absolutely. My answer is that I don't have the first damn clue. Maybe he was an early riser and he liked to pack in the morning. And maybe he didn't have any friends. I'm an educated woman, but I'm afraid I can't speak intelligently about the travel habits of William Santiago. What I do know is that he was set to leave the base at 0600. Now, are those really the questions I was called here to answer? Phone calls and footlockers? Please tell me you have something more, Lieutenant. 2 Marines are on trial for their lives. Please tell me their lawyer hasn't pinned their hopes to a phone bill. Do you have any other questions for me, Counselor?
Lieutenant Kaffee? Lieutenant, do you have anything further for the witness?
Thanks, Danny. I love Washington.
Excuse me. I had to dismiss you.
I beg your pardon?
I'm not through with my examination. I haven't dismissed you. Sit down.
Colonel,
What's that?
I want the woman to address me as Colonel or Ma'am. I believe I've earned it.
The defense will address the witness as Colonel or Ma'am.
I don't know what the hell kind of an outfit you're running here.
And the witness will address this court as Judge or Your Honor. Quite certain I've earned it. Take your seat.
What would you like to discuss now? My favorite color?
Colonel, the 6 a.m. flight wasn't the first one off the base.
Yes.
There wasn't another one that left 7 hours earlier and landed at Andrews Air Force Base at 2 a.m.?
Lieutenant, I thought we covered this.
Your Honor, in just a moment, the defense will be calling in Airman Cecil O'Malley and Airman Anthony Perez. Airman O'Malley and Perez were working the ground crew at Andrews the morning of the 7th.
Your Honor, these men were not on the list.
Rebuttal witnesses, Your Honor, called specifically to refute testimony offered under direct examination.
All other witnesses.
Colonel, a moment ago.
Check the tower logs, for Christ's sake.
We'll get to the airman in just a moment, Colonel. But a moment ago you said that you gave an order for Lieutenant Kendrick to tell his men not to touch Santiago.
That's right.
And Kendrick was clear on what you wanted.
Crystal.
Any chance he ignored the order?
Ignored the order?
Any chance he forgot about it?
No.
Any chance he left your office and said, the old bag's wrong?
No.
And when Kendrick had the meeting with the platoon and told them not to touch Santiago, any chance they ignored him?
Have you ever served in an infantry unit?
No, ma'am.
Ever served in a forward area?
No, ma'am.
Ever put your life in another man's hands? Asked him to put his life in yours?
No, ma'am.
We follow orders. We follow orders or people die. It's that simple. Are we clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Are we clear?
Crystal. Lieutenant Kendrick, one final question. If you ordered Lieutenant Kendrick, Colonel Jessep, one final question. If you ordered Lieutenant Kendrick to tell his men not to touch Santiago, then why would it be necessary for him to be transferred off the base?
I'm sorry, would you repeat that?
If you gave an order for Santiago not to be touched, then why would it be necessary?
Private Santiago was being transferred because he was a substandard.
No, that's not what you said earlier. You said he was being transferred because he was in grave danger.
Yes, that's correct.
You said he was in danger, and I said grave danger.
Yes, I recall what I said.
I got the court reporter.
I know what I said. I don't need it read back to me like
I'm
I'm
two orders. Colonel.
Sometimes men take matters into their own hands.
No, ma'am, that is not what you said a minute ago. You said your men never take matters into their own hands. Your men follow orders or people die. So Santiago shouldn't have been in any danger at all, should he have, Colonel?
You son of
Your Honor, I'd like to ask for a recess
I'd like
too.
to answer the question, Judge.
That makes two of us.
Colonel, if you gave an order for Kendrick to tell his men not to touch Santiago, then why would it be necessary for him to be transferred? Colonel, Kendrick ordered the code red, didn't he? Because that's what you told Kendrick to do.
Object!
Counsel, you're putting words in.
And when it went bad, you cut these guys loose.
Your Honor?
Counsel, hold you in contempt.
You had Markinson sign a phony transfer order.
Your Honor!
You coerced the doctor.
This is your last warning.
And you doctored the logbooks.
Damn it, Kaffee!
Put yourself in contempt.
I will ask for the 4th time. If
You want answers?
I'm entitled to them.
You want answers?
I want the truth.
You can't handle the truth. Because the truth is we live in a world that has walls, and those walls need to be guarded by men with guns. Who's gonna do it? You, Lieutenant Weinberg. I have a greater responsibility than you can possibly fathom. You weep for Santiago and you curse the Marines. You have that luxury. The luxury of the blind. The luxury of not knowing what I know. That Santiago's death, while tragic, probably saved lives. And my existence, while grotesque and incomprehensible to you, saves lives. You can't handle it. Because deep down in places you don't talk about at parties, you want me on that wall. You need me on that wall. We use words like honor, code, loyalty. We use these words as a backbone to a life spent defending something. You use them as a punchline. I have neither the time nor the inclination to explain myself to a woman who rises and sleeps under the blanket of the very freedom that I provide, then questions the manner in which I provide it. I prefer you just say thank you and went on your way. Otherwise, I suggest you pick up a weapon and stand a post. Either way, I don't give a damn what you think you're entitled to.
You ordered the code red?
I did the job you sent me to do.
You ordered the code red?
You're damn right I did!
Please, the court. I suggest that the members be dismissed and that we move to an immediate Article 39A session. The witness has rights. Jack?
I concur.
The sergeant-at-arms will take the members into an anteroom where they'll wait further instruction.
What the hell's going on? Captain, what the hell's going on? I'm not familiar with Article 39A. I did my job, I'd do it again. Now I'm getting on a plane and going back to my base.
Guard the prisoner.
What?
MPs guard the prisoner.
I ordered a code red and everybody's going to pieces like a damn ladies' auxiliary.
Colonel Jessep, you have the right to remain silent. Any statement you do make can be held against you by a court-martial or other judicial or administrative proceeding. You have the right to consult to a lawyer prior to questioning. This lawyer may be a civilian lawyer retained at no cost to the United States or by a military lawyer appointed to act as your counsel.
I'm gonna tear your eyes right out of your head and piss in your dead skull! You screwed with the wrong Marine!
Colonel Jessep, do you understand these rights as I have just read them to you?
You damn people. You have no idea how to defend a nation. All you did was weaken a country tonight, Kaffee. That's all you did. Give yourself a pat on the back. You put people's lives in danger tonight. Sweet dreams, sweetie.
Don't call me sweetie. I'm a lawyer and an officer of the United States Navy, and you're under arrest, you son of a bitch. The witness is excused.
Lift your head and lift it high.
Lift your head and lift it high.
Corporal Dawson's passing by.
Corporal Dawson's passing by.
Left, right.
Sound off.
Sing it loud.
Do it again. 3, 4. Sound off. Right, left. Stand proud.
On the charge of murder in the second degree, members find the defendants not guilty. On the charge of conspiracy to commit murder, the members find the defendants not guilty. On the charge of conduct unbecoming a United States Marine, the members find the defendants guilty as charged. The defendants are hereby sentenced to time in the brig up until this point and are to be dishonorably discharged from the Marine Corps. This court-martial is adjourned.
Time hut!
No.
Harold, I'm sorry.
I don't understand.
It's not as bad as it seems.
Colonel Jessep said she ordered the code red.
I know.
Colonel Jessep said she ordered the code red. What did we do wrong? What did we do wrong?
Ask Dawson.
We did nothing wrong.
A jury just said your conduct was unbecoming a Marine. What does that mean?
You're the lawyer.
You're the Marine.
Not anymore.
Harold, I don't understand.
Look,
I'm serious. What does it mean?
it means you beat the crap out of the wrong guy.
I'm serious. What does it mean?
You're going to stop asking that.
Cappy, I'd take these guys down to personal for some paperwork.
Harold,
Ma'am?
you don't have to wear a patch on your arm to have honor.
10 hut. There's an officer on deck. Ma'am, permission to be dismissed?
You're dismissed.
Airmen Cecil O'Malley and Anthony Perez, where are they? Second base and shortstop with the Toledo Mudhens?
I wouldn't lie to the court, Jackie. Airmen O'Malley and Perez were working the ground crew at Andrews the morning of the 7th.
And they saw the plane land.
Well, I didn't say that.
Good job.
If people have their kids, Jackie.
I'll see you around campus. I've got to go arrest Kendrick.
So say hi to him for me.
How about a celebration? I'm by. Sam?
Maybe later. I'm gonna go home and talk to my daughter. No, she's gotta be bilingual by now.
So what's next for you?
Staff Sergeant Hector Baines. He went to the movies on company time. What about you?
Me? Oh, you know, the usual?
Just annoying people?
Yeah. So how about it? You want to have a drink?
I'll catch up with you later. I want to get started on Hector Baines. Stay on my post a while?
You're like 7 of the strangest women I've ever met.
Lift your head and lift it high. Danielle Caffey's passing by.